Hey, sneaky big news. If you weren't paying attention over the weekend, as everyone was cutting down their roster, the Raiders kept 4 quarterbacks. They have Derek Carr, they have Mike Glennon, they have Nathan Peterman, they have Deshaun Kaiser, who they claimed off waivers from the Packers. Dan Graziano, you were the one who sort of brought this to our attention in a conversation we all had yesterday. And so I'd like to bring this one to the table here. Give me 90 seconds on the clock. Where is John Gruden going with 4 quarterbacks on his roster? Why are they there? Go.
Well, they're there because he's obsessed with quarterbacks, as we all know. But, I mean, it's hard for him to lock in on anything. So he likes Mike Glennon one week. He likes Nathan Peterman the next week. Oh, there's Deshaun Kaiser.
Does he like Derek Carr?
Get him. That's what's to be found out, right? There's only one more year of guaranteed money left on Derek Carr's deal. He'll be the starter this year, but he's playing for a coach who clearly changes his mind a lot when it comes to the quarterback position. He's going to have to convince him that he's the guy going forward into Vegas.
And what tells you that he doesn't really know is that all 4 of these guys are very different, not even in just the way they play, in personality. I mean, I would watch a reality show just on the QB room, seeing how those interactions go down.
Well, Hard Knocks, one day it was like, man, give me this guy, show me this guy, show me that guy. I'm going to throw a different angle on this. What happens if this is really smart by the Oakland Raiders? Brian Hoyer, you said multiple teams are reaching out. So that means multiple teams are searching for a backup. What happens if this is a incredible move to protect yourself backup quarterback-wise and maybe have a tradable asset? Because if Hoyer signs here, the next guy on the list, maybe they get a value draft pick or something for a Mike Leonard.
Reasonably speaking, they can't keep all 4 of them on their roster into the week, so something has got to change. But if you're Derek Carr, does this concern you?
Well, there's a lot of things that continue to concern me in our actions. I mean, listen, those guys are backups and Carr is the starter. But at some point, I don't want continual moves to be made that either impact me directly or indirectly if I'm Derek Carr.
I've always said it.
Quarterback rooms, it matters who's there,
yeah,
right? How they get along, all that stuff.
The culture,
changing it.
John Gruden's favorite quarterback is always the next one he might be able to get. All right, let's work our way then to the Dolphins, who underwent a massive overhaul of their roster this weekend, including trading away young and really good left tackle Laramie Tunsil, along with receiver Kenny Stills, to Houston for multiple future first-round draft picks. They got a ton in return. But what exactly is left behind to play a season with? Now, as to whether or not his team is tanking, head coach Brian Flores said, quote, "No, we're not. We're going to try to win every game." I think that's disrespectful to even say that. It's disheartening to hear people talk about it, to even say that. For a guy who respects the game as much as the game has done for me, when people say that, it's extremely sad. I have great respect for Brian Flores. That's exactly what he should say. There's really nothing else he can say. My word of warning to him is these coaches don't always survive these episodes where they are clearly tanking. But as I put 90 seconds on the clock, here's my concern. Baseball is struggling right now because a third of the teams are not trying to win, which means so many games are meaningless. It's all well and good to have one team tanking in the NFL. The Browns did it. It worked. Maybe now the Dolphins are doing it. If all of a sudden 4 or 5 teams start doing it and you have that many bad matchups every weekend, I think this is a problem waiting to happen.
Absolutely right. What the NFL has going for it in an effort to combat this is all the stats about, there's 5 new playoff teams every year. There's a worst to first team every year. The NFL can sell the idea of, hey, you're never really that far away. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins obviously didn't buy that this year. They're going a different direction. But you're right. If it becomes a thing that more and more teams do, it's something the NFL will have to address.
As long as they have young stars in this league, guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Baker Mayfield, they're happy because that's going to keep butts in the seats. We'll see what you're talking about with the Browns, I think actually worked out in the NFL's favor. They tanked. Look what they have now, and the NFL is all about it. My biggest concern for the Dolphins right now is it is clear that you tanked, not just because of the guys you gave away, because of who you brought in. They bring in Julian Davenport, the guy that was a part of the O-line with the Texans, who gave up more sacks than anybody else in the league.
That's not good.
Yeah, to go from a guy that was that good to maybe one of the worst, that's concerning.
One of the great advantages the NFL has over the other pro sports in America is in April or in their offseason, everybody thinks they can win the Super Bowl. They think that there is that eternal hope. This is our team's year. And the NFL is going to have to find a way here to keep that for every fan base, because it makes the NFL different than a lot of other sports leagues. Their fans honestly believe, whether it's the Jags, whether it's the Lions, doesn't matter. we got a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. They've got to keep that in play.
I've been saying for years, the worst thing about tanking is that it works. That's the biggest problem. There's no obvious reason that teams shouldn't try it if they figure it to be bad. We'll talk more about this as we go. Meanwhile, one other thing I wanted to bring up here. Former Buffalo Bills running back LaShawn McCoy is reuniting with his old head coach. They were together in Philly, he and Andy Reid, and now he's in Kansas City with Reid on a one-year, $4 million contract, according to Adam Schefter. The rich just got much, much richer. And for me, this put it over the top. Give me 90 seconds on the clock. We're in a league now where you don't even have to be able to play defense with the way the rules are and everything. Barring a massive spate of injuries, the Chiefs' offense is too good to be stopped. This is the move that put them over the top. They will win the Super Bowl.
I still worry about their defense. I really do. I don't know if they can stop anybody. The offense is fantastic. The LaShawn McCoy move matters. He's going to play a role for them. They have to guarantee his full salary for the year because they signed him before the end of week 1. That's a very important factor here. He had other teams interested. So it'll help, but I still look at the Chiefs and I think to myself, I don't believe that to be a championship caliber defense.
Shady McCoy is a year removed from 1,100 yards rushing and having 60 catches.
Yeah.
You've now added that to an offense that was filthy good last year. And he's going to be your 5th, 6th, 7th option. And so you're taking a really, really good player still and putting him in an offense that was really, really good just last year. I said on this show multiple times I'm concerned about the defense, and I said they might have to score 40 a game to win. But here's the thing. They're going to the playoffs, and maybe they only need to score 40 in a 3-game stretch. And I think this move certainly helps it get to that point.
40's nothing for this team now, right?
Right.
I mean, look, the concerns aren't on offense. We've seen what they can do. With all that they gave up on defense, I actually think their defense is going to be better this year. And it doesn't have to be much better. We've seen in recent years, you don't have to be world beaters on defense to win a championship. I know defensive guys don't like to hear that.
Their defense almost couldn't get worse than it was last year, and yet they were a coin flip and one guy lining up off sides from being in the Super Bowl anyway. And their offense is going to be better with another year under his belt for Patrick Mahomes. That is my pick to win, again, barring a spate of significant injury. I will remind you, we got great football coming your way tonight. After number 9, Notre Dame and Louisville. And then even better after that is Scott Van Pelt with his Sports Center. He's going to have Bo Nix and Tom Herman with him. He will have Kirk Herbstreit with his Week 1 takeaways and the return of Bad Beats. You can catch it all tonight on ESPN and on the ESPN app. All right, we are in stretch drive time in Major League Baseball. Let's run the bases National League wild card style. Pete Alonso, he hit his 43rd home run of the season, but not enough for the Mets. They lose again, dropping the finale of a 3-game set in Philly, 5-2 on Sunday Night Baseball. Scott Kingery breaking a 2-all tie with a 3-run double off Familia in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets have lost 7 out of 9. Dodgers, meanwhile, rally for a 4-3 come-from-behind win over the Diamondbacks in Arizona. Cody Bellinger tied it top of 9 with his 43rd home run of the year. Jock Peterson put the Dodgers in front with a pinch home run in the top of the 11th. The Diamondbacks had a 6-game win streak snapped with that loss. And then Christian Yelich. He hit his 42nd home run of the season yesterday. It's a 3-run shot top of 9 off Craig Kimbrell. That helps the Brewers to a 4-0 win over the Cubs at Wrigley Field. For Yelich, he had gone 12 games without a home run, his longest streak of the season, and the Brewers shut out the Cubbies for the 2nd straight game. So let's take a look at where that leaves us. Even with the loss, the Cubs still hold the 2nd wild card spot in the National League. 3 up on the Brewers, 2.5 on the Phils. Nationals have a commanding lead in that spot, more than 4 games as the final month gets underway. And we've got not 1 but 2 for you today. Let's play 2 on ESPN on this Labor Day. 1 Eastern, Aaron Judge and the Yankees host the Rangers. And then a key interleague matchup, the Astros taking on Yelich and the Brewers. Both games on ESPN and all of it live on the ESPN app. Coming up, Aaron Rodgers did not play at all in the preseason, even with a new offense. He says it's no problem. What do we think it will look like? We'll tell you next. Get up on ESPN.